Don't worry about it. Oh, snap! Hold on. Whoa, 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 whoa.
What are
We
you
are
doing?
live. We live. It's 8 o'clock.
Oh yeah. Hey everybody, it's Truth Be Told podcast, and I am your host Deja Vu, and my co-host DJ Kazan Jones. Um, Today it is a deeper topic that we're not gonna talk about relationships. Can you stop and focus? Thank you.
I am. I'm just.
Um, we're gonna be talking about deeper topics today regarding oppression and colorism. Um, these are deeper topics in our average show. I thought by it being Black History Month, it's important to talk about, well, not even it's about Black folks, about all minorities. But since it is Black History Month, it is important to learn the history and it's important to be educated on these issues, dealing with police brutality and, colorism. So let's start with oppression. How, as being a Black man in America, it's kind of like I'm interviewing you a little bit, but as being a Black man in America, how do you face with oppression? What is the weight? Can you describe the weight that most Black men feel? Not saying that you could talk for everybody, but your personal, you know what I'm saying? Your personal, you know.
Well, for me, uh, I didn't. You know what I'm saying? I don't really face a.
Oh, experiences. Sorry, I
Well,
just had a brain fart. Personal experiences. Sorry.
for me, I really didn't have a lot of oppression as far as white people, or if you want to talk about like systematic oppression or whatever. I had oppression from my fellow black folks. And, you know, it's kind of sad to say because, growing up in the north side of St. Louis, all I knew was my people. You know what I'm saying? Black,
Mm-hmm.
brown, back in the day we had a little bit more of a Latino. um
Diversity.
we had a lot more diversity on the north side too back then too. It wasn't that many like you would see down south or east or west coast, but we had more
Right.
diversity back then. And but all of my people, my family is multicultural as well. um but outside of the family and friends and stuff like that, it was always like you were um you were black, but you were part of different groups. And
Right.
we kind of touched on this last night on You Ain't Lying podcast. Shout out to CMW Hayes, and we had Darius Robbins from Mic Check Global on, and he was saying how we have different four or five different groups of black folks. Like we have the people who are actually, they're just living their everyday life,
Mm-hmm.
and we have the people that are trendy that want to be popular. We have people that are, upper crust, or the top percentage of black people. And then we have people in the ghetto, that's just in the streets running wild doing all type of evil stuff. And so the oppression came in when you were trying to navigate and try to fit in somewhere to where you didn't have to feel like you were being attacked all the time. And so
Mm-hmm.
that was what the oppression was. And then trying to figure out who you are and survive in these conditions. And, outside in the house is great, but outside of your four walls, it's a problem, you
Right.
know? So,
Um. Well, growing up on the South Side, I'm gonna talk about my personal experience dealing with depression. I never really dealt with depression. Um. And I think it's because the area I grew up in. I think it's because of the diversity, and then going to different schools. Like I didn't go to the neighborhood schools. I went to county schools, and so, and even if I did like go to the like schools within the area, it was still mixed because we had so much diversity. We had Bosnians from Mexicans to Asians. We had it all, so it was never just one group of people. Um, and then it was like my grandmother, like she kind of put me on game with from an early age when it comes to diversity. Traveling, opened my eyes to a lot. Learning different languages opened my eyes to a lot. So I don't have those personal experiences. I heard about them, but I didn't live them. And so it'd be
Hmm.
like I can't really speak on something that I have never witnessed, but I can empathize and sympathize with that, in being a minority group, um, being indigenous. Um, yeah, it's just, you have some weight, but you don't, I think that's part of the parents' responsibility because I feel like if you don't introduce your kids to diversity, hey, King, um, if you don't introduce your kids to diversity, they will be narrow minded and they will
Hmm.
be ignorant to different cultures and different walks of life of people. And know that people don't look like them or foresee things like them. So it's your job to educate your child as much as you can, so they won't have those experiences, and put them in wholesome environments so they won't just think in the box. um what do you think? What do you think about that?
I would say yeah, from that aspect, you're right. I'm totally with you there. And I feel like you do need to educate, your children on what happened before because if you don't
Mm-hmm.
know, you won't have a future if you don't know your past.
Yeah.
So, that is a true statement. And I learned at an early age about, you know, racism. I learned about, my history. I learned about all of those different things, from Dr. King to the Malcolm X, the
Mm-hmm.
obvious, to the Mega Evers to what's the guy who was in that Morgan Freeman played. I forget his name, the principal of that school, and it was in Lean on Me. I forget he was a real person.
Morgan
Not
Freeman, I thought.
not no, that's not Morgan Freeman. The character is played by the
Oh, I
actual
know what you're
person.
saying. He just
Yeah,
died. Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
I know.
So that's what I'm saying. So that principle, and then different people in the Maya Angelou, um, Harry Belafonte, all of these different people that had lived and died for equality and uh racial justice, and so I kind of feel like where we're at now, we're in a good place now, but I
I
feel
don't
like the
think we're in
kid
a good place because this.
Joe Clark. What's up, Hayes? And Key Robinson said, Joe Clark, this is teaching and learning about our history more than ever before. That's what I was gonna say, was that we're in a good place now to be able to use, we have the internet. Because before you couldn't really learn about those things unless you had all of the books. And the people today have you know what I'm saying, have
No, I
all of the
think before
information.
you could have the history museum, internet. We still did have the internet. Ain't like we was oblivion to that. Yes, they have more access to a lot of different things, but we still had Google. We're not that old.
No, I'm talking about from when we were children. I'm talking about the children, they're born now and they got these in their hands. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I mean, but we
So
still have museums and
yeah,
whatever,
I
like
I'm saying
as
now
kids.
I'm saying even more so now because I could look at all of Dr. King's speeches. I could look at all of the new. I could see news footage. I could see all the other documents that because those museums were, made and erected by white people. But we get, stuff from the families now. We getting stuff
Not
from
the history museum. The history museum has all.
not the black. No, yes, the history museum is erected.
Yes.
It was erected and made by white people. I'm talking about if you talking about the Black History Museum, like we had here in St. Louis, and
No,
they got.
they do have a black section in the history museum for black folks to you to learn about your history. That's true.
I mean, yeah, but I don't think you seeing my point. So like,
I know I
we
do see your point, but I'm saying that it is still accessible. It was still accessible.
yeah, I know that, but I'm saying now we control the narrative. Before they controlled the narrative. Now, and it's not nothing wrong with that. It's not. I'm not saying that was bad. Like that was good that we had at least that. But people had to fight and die, and people had to, and when we were coming up, they had to vote and lobby and stuff like that. Like they just made Dr. King's holiday recognized as a national holiday, and that was in the last 5-10 years. Like we had it off, like your city or your state could have like made that like a day off or something like that, but it wasn't declared a federal holiday until just recently. So that's what I'm saying. Nowadays is no excuse, whereas we were coming up, they were still fighting to make these things accessible. Like we still not saying that you're not right, but just saying that nowadays it's undiluted, it's uncensored, it's more movies being made. It's not just slavery movies made back to back to back to back or indentured servitude movies made back to back to back. It's more documentaries, it's more materials that are coming directly from the source, from the families and the people that was on the ground and was there. That's what I was saying.
Oh, okay. I have a little different take because, like I said, um, dealing with diversity, I feel like the exposure of learning different cultures, I think to each his own. I feel like if your curriculum in school did not teach you that, then maybe you lack those things. But if you had, a curriculum in school where they were teaching you about your history, like we had a whole, like the Rockwood School District, it was like, if you didn't get caught up on your credit, as you're going through each grade level, they would have you do summer school, which is a lot of people did summer school. So we would go to different other schools, and it was so interesting because I was fucking up in school. I was that kid, and I went to a summer school session, and I did African American history through the whole duration of the summer, and I had to learn like you don't really pay attention to stuff as a kid because you just have so much to process and go through, and life is changing. So learning about my like history and learn about African American history through the summer, it was like a little bit of a shock value because you're not oblivion, but you don't really pay attention. And so it was just like an eye opener. But what was so interesting, they had a white man teach African American history. And I was like, I was like, now, how does this make sense? It doesn't. So it was just like seeing the world through his lenses. He was watering stuff down. He wasn't really, you could tell he was uncomfortable because
Mm,
it was like, I know I shouldn't be teaching this, but I have a job here. But
mm-hmm.
and then like these kids, they're of color, so it's like, how do I even process this so
Yeah,
they can understand, right? And then so it's like it was a contradicting, segment because we learned about Emmett Till and that
mm-hmm.
story still haunt me to this day. But We still learn about different stuff like that, and you could tell his comfort level. He couldn't focus. He couldn't really look at us, because he was like, these kids, like, I'm a white male with black
Mhm.
kids teaching them about their history. Like, this is
Mhm.
weird, So, but those type of experiences, it just it's an eye opener.
Mhm.
And I feel like it is, like I said, it's our job to educate ourselves, to educate our children, so we don't have ignorance, and we won't be ignorant. And people that is white, I feel like they need to educate themselves better. Um, and just listen to each other and learn how to, like I said, argue productively. Learn how to argue. You don't have to always agree, but it can be in a respectful tone. You don't
Mhm.
always have to agree on each other's topics or discussion, but it has to be a respectful level, because nothing gets solved if you constantly being combative.
Mhm.
So that's where I feel like we are at as a country, where we just need to start listening to each other, and
Mhm.
yeah, we need to seek some mortality, a little bit more mortality. What I want to tell, the next topic that I want to talk about is colorism.
Mhm.
Colorism, dealing with men, women. I think it's more so women.
Ooh, I'm
I
finna.
think.
Ooh, I've
What?
been waiting on this.
What?
Been waiting on this topic.
What,
Cause
me?
I said I've been waiting on this topic. Been waiting to talk
Oh,
about this since you said it to me.
colorism. I feel like colorism is racism within the community. So, now I guess we're prejudiced against our own skin tones. People feel like they're not being represented in the way that they should be feeling represented. They feel like lighter skin gets more attention. They feel like darker skin gets underrated. They feel like there should be more representation of their skin. How do you feel about colorism? Because I've been hearing a lot of YouTubers been talking about being colorist, and it's like light skin versus dark skin
Well, I feel
right
like
now.
this. It's always been like that. Well, I ain't gonna say always been like that. I think it's gotten like that because I'm gonna break it down to you. So basically, it's a lot of black women that have shunned black men over the years because of their bad experiences um with men that lie and play games and run around on them, and they have these kids. And because society, back then, not necessarily as much now, but society back then
Mm-hmm.
was, if you had a fair skinned child, they wouldn't have it as hard because certain places they could pass for white. So we had that
Mm-hmm.
going on, and we had
Well,
the
you mean
structure.
house niggas versus field niggas?
I mean, yeah, but I'm talking about in today's society, in
Yeah.
our community, it's basically it's the past catching up with the present. So a lot of guys feel like, you know, oh, I'm gonna go get me a light skinned girl, or I'm gonna go get me a white girl, because they feel like those women are more fair. They'll give different guys a chance, whereas certain black women, and no matter what shade they are, depending on how they was raised, like I said, it was more light skinned women that are more like easygoing, a little bit more docile. They ain't finna be giving you all the
But
attitude in the lip.
that's not accurate, because there's a lot of light skinned women that raise all types of hell. And
I
there's a lot
mean,
of like white people that do. I mean, but like you can't.
but I'm
That's
saying, but I'm saying,
stereotyping.
I'm breaking down. I'm not saying with me. I'm saying I'm breaking down what's going on in the landscape.
No, but I'm still, whether it's with you or was not with you, that's not accurate.
Well, but that's what I'm trying to tell you. The consensus for the men. This is where we get the war of light skin versus dark skin from in today's modern society. They want to go off and basically, get with these different women, and then they pit these women, the light skinned women, the fair skinned women, and the white women and stuff like that against the black woman because they get the light skinned, fair skinned white women are getting down with the program. And so what I mean by the program is whatever, like if a man wants to do X, Y, and Z, she's more easygoing and able to work with. So what's happening is you have darker skinned women feeling like that they're less than because guys are choosing their when they are in the black community, it seems like they ain't got no choice but to deal with uh um a dark skinned, sister. She got a little weight on her, this, that, and the third. And because the we have been, I would say, made to hate ourselves because guys aren't being chosen as much because they may be poor or they may be chubby themselves or ugly or whatever towards, these type of women. That's how the light skin, dark skin thing kicked off. I think though now, but that besides the point now, because a lot of guys are kind of keep it into themselves now. They unless they real hurt and dogmatic. I think now though it's more of the women trying to capture certain type of guys. So you will have a light skinned woman that could attract a high value, well to do black man faster than a dark skinned woman would. And that's a problem because what I heard from the women is it's not that many functioning, well rounded, level headed, self sufficient black men to go around that is attractive. So now we're at war with each other. Like Danny Lay put out the Yellow Bone song and everybody is going crazy about it. And I just feel like it's stupid because it's a lot of women competing for the same guys. And that's why the colorism thing is still
Well,
a problem.
she she did that because his baby mama, the baby's baby mama, her and they was into it. But that was a trolling song, and it kind of like bit her in the ass because everybody dragged her for it. And they, nowadays a lot of people, they just want to be represented. I see a lot of people say that well, I go for the white girls or the light skins because back then, I couldn't get her. So now I can get her because I got this money, which is sad because unfortunately, just because you get a white girl or a light skinned girl, that don't mean your kids will be light skinned. See, I feel like a lot of people want that because they want those skinned kids. They don't really want darker skinned kids because they know how dark skinned kids are treated. But and then they be disappointed when their kids be just as black as them. So you don't control science. But
Mm,
it's a lot of ignorance with the skin tone. It's a lot of judgment with the skin tone. I feel like I was listening to King of Reeds. Oh, he get on my nerves. About being represented, and he's saying there's nobody that's dark and got a gap, and I'm like, well, you want somebody real busted to be represented? Like I'm just like, why does she have to be blackberry dark for you to feel represented? When you are represented in every genre, brown skin girl or light skin, whatever the hell, red bone, whatever the hell, you should take that, because I mean they're talking about you. It's all about you in that moment. I feel
Mm,
like people, we already have it hard enough where it's discrimination against your skin as it is. We don't need to have racism within our own communities when it comes to skin tone. I think that it just creates more controversy. It just makes things more complicated, and ultimately it's going to destroy us, because now we're programmed to hate each other because of skin, you know,
mm,
rather than we only preach unity when tragedy hits. When
mm,
tragedy comes about, everybody want to be unified, but nobody want to be unified just on a regular schmegular day. And I feel like that's the reason why these white people are winning in these streets, because, and I don't know what goes down in their community. I don't. But they love when we're all against each other. They eat that shit up because that's less work that they have to do. So I don't think that we should even feed into the colorism, even though people are still gonna do it. Even if people are still gonna, and this generation, they too sensitive. They let I don't remember us growing up and us being this sensitive to the least little thing. Like, it's like, if y'all gonna bitch about everything, then we're not gonna make it. We ain't gonna have shit. You can't be sensitive to every little thing. You can't, like, and even if you want to have change, change ain't gonna happen overnight. It takes time. But some things you just like, y'all just need to let this go, and just move forward. Make sure you doing your part to be inclusive.
mm,
You know, anything
mm.
to say?
I agree. I mean, I feel like it's stupid because I like all different types of black women, indigenous women, Latina women. I don't discriminate, and I feel like a lot of guys. But again, it goes back to what's trendy and what's popular. It's
Yeah.
not trendy and popular to be unified or whatever until, like you said, something happens. So then
Until tragedy heights, and then people want
so
to be like, oh, or people want to come together for a visual and pray together. Like, why don't we do that on a daily basis? Why does it take something so extreme for us to band together or us to unify? It shouldn't always just be, so
yeah.
much division. And that's why we will never win, because we're always divided. We can never go through, the process of healing if we're always divided. Always. We spend more time hating each other than loving each other, and wonder why we are never ahead.
Hmm.
You ain't got nobody to blame but yourself.
Yep. Yep. Um.
So
So, what do you think um could change all of this though? Like, I mean, like, how do you think we could become more unified and more together and more everything else?
I think that we have to welcome all walks of life. People always want to say, no, this is a black folks conversation. You don't have no say so. Um, or people be like, we it's like you have to welcome everybody. It was all hands on deck when Malcolm X, when he made moves, I mean, not Malcolm X, sorry, when Martin made moves, it was like all hands on deck. It was like he wanted all walks of life, even the white folks. He needed the white folks to get in the door. Yeah, he had the ideas and the dreams, but ultimately he couldn't. He was powerless unless he had somebody on the inside. So it's just like we need people, all walks of life, to change this system. It takes everybody. And you can't be saying this is a white problem or this is a black problem. This is, or y'all shouldn't be talking because y'all Indians, and this y'all ain't oppressed for 400 years. No, we wasn't oppressed for 400 years, but our land was stolen
Hmm.
and we were killed.
Hmm.
So it's like you have to be open minded. And see that narrow minded thinking, it don't get you nowhere. You're gonna be still bitching and moaning and complaining about no progress because you don't want help. And the only time you won't help is from your own people. But look how far they got. I would want somebody to help me that have gotten far.
Hmm.
So I mean, what do you think? What do you think that how can we navigate progress in this country, and how can we get through this diversity with different ethnic groups?
Um, I just feel like everybody needs, like you said, needs to come together, and we need to put, especially black and brown people, indigenous people, all three of us need to put all our differences aside because I see black folks, African Americans going against African folks. I see Latinos and Indian people going at each other, going at black people, like, and I just feel like we're all in the same boat. You know what I'm saying? Because we've all been disenfranchised at some point of another, and we got to stop selling each other short. You know, and
Yeah, but okay, what do you say to people that be like, okay, but no, we're not because black folks been oppressed for over 400 years.
I mean, it again. Those people, even with those people, you have to be able to say, you have to be able to be open minded, and you have to be able, everybody has to come together. But I feel like with black folks, we need to come together first in the different, like I said earlier, the different segments of the black community. We all need to put our differences aside. The people that's in the suburbs, the people that's in the streets, the people that's in the middle, we all need to put our stuff aside and unify together. And once we get done with our issues, we can then all reconvene as people of color, because that's the issues that we're having. We can reconvene as people of color and work on issues as a whole. Like, we can't argue with other folks that, the Indians have the reservations and they are preserving their land. The Latin people have their unionizing
Mm-hmm.
and colonizing and making their land is a democracy, and there is more business being done down south of the border, and there's business being done um in the Indian reservations and stuff like that. We as black people, black and African people, African American and African people, we need to get our houses in order first, and then we all get together with those other folks. Because what happens is black folks are quick to run and help other people but themselves, and we sell ourselves out. Like over in Africa right now, the federal aid that has helped with the quarantine, and the money has been stolen by the officials. Like, the officials have all this money and everybody else is poor. Like, these are African people now. These
Mm-hmm.
are African countries, and the
Mm-hmm.
poverty rates are through the roof because the greed. You living in the high horse. You living in a you living in a mansion in a porcelain palace, but the people are dying, or and then they're shooting and
Mm-hmm.
killing the people. People always want to talk about, well, we need to go back to Africa and this, that, the third, and America is so bad.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know, and they don't, and over there you have to have a network of people, or else you are going to, people think, oh, I'm gonna run over there to Africa. No, Africa needs to fix its issues, and that's why they look at us as the way that they look at us, crazy, because they like, y'all don't know the hell that you think, the heaven that you
No.
think over here, you don't know. So
No,
you don't
it's
really
so
know.
much more freedom over here, and then it's like they have government. Their government rules. You know what I'm saying? Their government rules is stricter. You know, over there you can't disagree with your leader. You can't debate. You know, democracy. You know, or your limbs will be cut off. Like there's just certain things that I love when people be like, you know, we need to go to Africa, but it's like if Africa was so great, they wouldn't be trying to come here. They will build their own land. They will build their own, you know what I'm saying, reservation camp. They're not going to do that. They want to come here because it's so freedom. It's freedom wise. And yes, we have our flaws. We're racist because let's face it, Missouri is a Republican state, and we know how Republicans think now, really think. And so, yeah, it has its little scars, but at the end of the day, you still have freedom of speech. You have freedom of religion. You don't have to be one religion. You know what I'm saying? So it's like those 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 amendments are in place for a reason, and there are constitutionalized, but they I don't know. I don't know what it's going to take to fix it. I hope that we can get it together because I think God is pissed at us because how we handle certain things. And that's the reason why we have so much destruction now.
Mhm. I mean, Darius kind of touched on that too. He said he was like, how can we ask God to bless us and we have all this dysfunction, and we
That
we
is true.
praise
And
and
I
we
feel like
pray.
he was pissed at us. That's the reason why we got Trump. Now that's why I'm like, yo, he is really mad at us for real. He is not playing. And then I said if he gets reelected, we might as well pack our shit because we finna get up out of here. But no, he didn't do that. He forgave us, but still, God is mad. He's not pleased at anything that we have been doing. He knows that we've been fucking up, and now time is winding up. That's why you gotta get your soul right.
Hmm.
You know.
Um, I'm a kind of pivot to a different like topic. I feel like if we start with the family, and I feel like in relationships and stuff like that, I feel like if we start with that, we'll be a little bit better
Far
off.
as what? Far as
Um, I feel like it need to be a real talk and real discussion that goes on, because I feel like with black people, because there's such a divide as far as like dating and relationships and stuff like that. I feel like now it's a lot more of scandalation slash titillation that goes on, and
what?
then titillation, that means like
What the hell
teasing
is a
people.
tit? Okay,
Titillation
just
is
say
me
teasing. Just say
teasing.
tease. Okay.
Okay, a lot more teasing and sexual innuendo on going on now, and guys are being branded as thirsty and different things of that nature. And then when
Well,
they try
some of
to go,
y'all are. Some of y'all
okay,
really are.
well, I feel like this because in the white community and different communities, like it's easier for people to date and do different things, and they had
You don't
like
know
they
that because you're not in that community. So how can you say that?
no, because I
But you're not
see it.
in their community though.
No, but I'm saying I see it, and the people that I grew up with and ran with, they it's easier
But
for
just
a lot
because you
more.
grew up with those people, those people don't speak for other people. That's not the
No, but
whole
I'm
community.
saying when you look at like what's going on, like let's take on YouTube for example, and the content that is being made on the in the let's say the manosphere, right? On the black manosphere, it's more of a movement now of the alpha male, the high value man, the you boss yourself up, because the more that you have materialistic in your body, the shape of your body or the sculpt of your body is going to put you out ahead of the pack, and you could tell women to pack it up and go. Whereas in the white community, the white manosphere, they are preaching, okay, let's keep the family together. This is how you get your girl back. Let's love on each other. Let's try to make things work. Let's stick together. The black community, you got the black women is saying, I need to level up. I need to scam on the man. I need to uh sell your OnlyFans. I need to do these different things because I need a baller. But we all racing trying to get this. Um,
Who is we
you know,
all?
I'm saying the black community as a whole, because when I look on, um, when I look at the and I hear the music, when I see the videos, when I see social media, it's nothing but these type of women, and then these other women
But
are
they don't
getting.
speak for the whole community.
No, no,
They're
no, no, no.
stereotyping.
But I'm saying though, it's almost like a guy has to be at a certain level to be with a certain
That's
woman.
because that's who you align yourself with. Because
No, no,
every
no.
woman, but see here, no, yes, 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 yes. Because every woman don't think like that, and every woman, that's like me saying, well, all niggas think about is drugs, bitches, and money, and that's just not what every nigga is on. It's not
Mm-mm.
fair to categorize or to pull the certain percentage of the population or the population of that community and say this is what y'all all about, because
No,
that's not
I'm not saying.
accurate.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the
But
that
you
the.
know what my great grandmother used to say, if you want to hang out whether if you want to get a doctor, right, you hang out where the doctors are at. If you want to get a policeman, you hang out where the police is at. Or if you want to get a basketball, but you hang around where the basketball players is at. If you want a certain type of individual in your life, what do? You take interest in what they're interested in. You go where they go. So it's not about that. See, everybody is going off of what's trending. People have lost their souls and they have lost their mortality because they being blinded by what's on YouTube or whatever social media platform. But that's not reality. And
Well, what I'm saying.
also, just because a bitches is flying on social media, that don't mean she lived that lifestyle. Niggas, they don't really live those lifestyles. You think that they're living those lifestyles, but it don't be.
Well, I'm gonna
So
say.
I mean,
What I'm saying is this
it's
is.
easier to say that, but that's not the truth.
But hold on,
And
that's
we
not.
can't keep
Let
stereotyping
me hold on.
people because of that's what you follow.
Let me
That's
hold
what
on.
you align yourself with.
Let me say this though. Let me say this. I wasn't finished. What I was trying to tell you was, now people that are in regular relationships, right? Now the women are more guarded because they think that, you know, the guy's trying to finesse them out their draws. So they're working on themselves more. They're bossing up and this, that, and the third. And then when they get to a certain level, as far as this is on the other side. We ain't talking about the IG
This
models and
ain't
stuff like
about
that.
they draws though, Killzo. You still missing the point.
No, no, no.
This
What
is
I'm
not
saying,
about no 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 no
let
no. Hold on,
you.
back up, because you just took that little section and you just twisted it. Sometimes it's not about getting draws. Sometimes a woman is trying to heal, and sometimes not just about healing, but sometimes her standards. She knows what she wants, and so when you know what you want and you set that standard, like we've been saying, then yes, she is gonna guard her heart and guard her mind because she sees that man for what he is. We know
Mm,
you before you even open up your mouth. Do you know that? Women know what you about before you even open up your mouth. We have that intuition. It ain't just for in vain.
well, what I'm saying is this
Now it's
too.
up to us to play into it or not, but we know who you are before you even speak.
But I'm saying, but what happens is this. That happens, and then a woman will go and the guy will go, and they'll have kids, they'll have baggage, and then they'll ask this man or this woman who has not went through all of that, they played it safe, to risk it all on them. And then
Risk
because
what?
the risk they health, their money, their status, their job, whatever it is, by taking a chance on them. And when you take a chance on them, most of the time it ends in chaos. So it's like, how can we get the younger generation before they get turned out by social media or whatever? How can we start bringing back dating and courting and things of
Well,
that nature?
because you have to model that we got to go back to home training. You have to model those behaviors from home. Regardless, I know kids are going to do what they want to do, but ultimately some stuff still resonates within them. They're gonna go off of what they see their parents do. You are the very first people that your children will be influenced by. You set the tone of how your children will model that behavior throughout their adulthood. So how we bring that back, it starts with you. When you have a child in this world, your obligation is to mold and grow and learn from that child. You cannot sit up there and ask celebrities or social media influencers to raise your kid, and your kid sitting up there saying, "Well, I mean, it's cool because they did it." They not influenced. That's not their influence. Their first influence should be you. And if you're not influencing, just like NBA YoungBoy's mama, and she say, well, social media, my son is grown, but you didn't teach him shit. Because that man got about 17 damn kids at the age of 21.
Yeah, you're
It
right.
starts at home. You have to set the tone for your child. That's your responsibility. You ain't on your job.
Hmm. You're right.
So, I mean, that's how we have to. And like I said, kids are going to do what they want to do. We all know that. But I feel like if you have set good standards for your children, you have talked to your children, you have molded them and guided them to the way they needed to go, some of that will still resonate with them as they get older. They're not going to
Hmm.
forget everything mommy and daddy don't taught them.
Yeah, you're right. So you're right. Like, I feel like it does need to be a better standard. But how can we do that if people are still doing what they want to do and not? Because I
And,
feel
and
like
see, and here's another thing. And I feel like, and this is me, maybe it's the old school of me, but y'all, your kids don't need to be on social media at 8 and 9 and 10 years old. No, no. I wouldn't even allow my child on YouTube. And that's just me because it's just too much influences. It's too much. It's bad enough the stuff be on TV, but just having that accessible. Like I know my 10-year-old cousin right now. She on Instagram, and I'm like, I don't know what your mama thinking, but this is not cool.
hmm
You should not be on. Not on no 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and especially talking to no adult and the way they be cussing online. Oh no. So you have to get in control of your kids and monitor what they do.
hmm hmm yeah, you sure right. What was it I was gonna ask you? Like, but how can we influence it? Like, how can we bring it back, and how can we bring back that? Because it seemed like ain't nobody using no type of discretion. STDs is on the rise, and like, do anybody know about or want to use condoms? Because I heard on the interview with Boosie was talking about how many kids he was like, man, in Baton Rouge they don't even use condoms like that,
That's true. He
and then
said that.
I'm like, I'm sitting here in my mind like, what? Like seriously?
Yeah.
Like that's what they going, and
Cause they
so
was talking
this.
about NBA young boy. He said, bad in Baton Rouge, we don't use condoms. We just, yeah, and that's the reason why they have so many children.
And
But
mm,
how we get it back, you have to set the standards for yourself. I don't know how. Like I said, so many lost souls out here. They not respecting themselves. People want to hop in your bed so fast and be around you so fast. They don't want to wait. They don't want to find out who you are, and that's
Mm-hmm.
scary because they put themselves in harm's way, and you ain't taking the time to know this person, or you know what I'm saying. So it's just, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Hopefully it will slow down. You would think by the pandemic things would slow down, but it just hasn't. There's a lot of quarantine kids that's gonna be born this year, and there was a lot of quarantine kids born last year. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, I just feel like we need to be more honest too, because like I said, it's a lot of people that feel like I don't know. I feel like we need to start talking about maybe having sex education more in schools too,
Yeah,
and
and
we need
rather
to
than
start.
just health class, you need to have a sexual education.
Yep, and
Cause
I feel like we need to have some more like maybe date like I would say like what's the word for guys like I want to not it, like charm school is for the girls, but for guys, it should be another like I forget what it's called. But the thing is, we need to have more guys that are like gaming up these men and getting these men in a certain mind frame so they know how to approach a woman if they want to have sex or if they want to have a relationship, then it needs to be said. You know what I'm saying? It needs
well,
to be
yeah,
said. Yeah, just needs to be said because we we it just needs to be said. Like men need to be flat out in what they want, and because a lot of people were I feel like were sheltered. So this is why we have the culture that we have, especially a lot of guys too. I feel like women, y'all are raised and groomed up in a lot of these single parent households. They get raised and groomed up so they get out because the mama want to have her guys over. You know what I'm saying?
no,
Her
you know
men
what? You
over.
know what? You know what? Little girls are taught at an early age, and this is so sad because it shouldn't be this way. Little girls are really taught to marry, to have children, to be domestic. You know, stay at home moms. They're not really taught to really be a hustler. And not saying, you know, that's for everybody, but a lot of women say, baby, why don't you just find you a husband and, you know, get married and just live well. You know, that's the kind of tone that a little girl has an impression to be like. A little girl is groomed to be a wife from an early age. Now a man, he's not groomed that way. He's groomed to get out there, work, you know, provide for yourself, X, Y, and Z. But girls, it's a different tone there. And that's not what we should be teaching our daughters.
What you feel like we should be teaching them then?
I should teach them how to, you can have it all. You can have your own business, you can have your own career, and you can you can do it all. You can do anything you want to put your mind to. Your body's not always made to get pregnant, you know, or to be wedded. A lot of people, they don't want to be married, you know, or they don't want to have kids. Like I just told you the other day, millennials, they was talking about millennials don't have a lot of kids. Like they're not making babies the way they supposed to. I'm like, shit, look around. There's a reason for that. People are deprogramming their minds to be like, no, I'm more than that. I'm better than that. I don't need to be consensitized to just making babies. I'm not a machine.
Hmm. I mean, I feel
My
like
purpose in life is greater than that.
I feel like that women are taught that because I don't know. It's always been different, I guess, for a man
Yeah.
because I feel like women are held more sacredly
Yeah, we
because
are.
y'all are such magnificent creatures, and I feel like that's being preached because you don't want
Yeah,
to
you
have
know
a whole.
why? You know why? Because the mature level is high too. See, when y'all already back at that curve on the corner, we already hit the freeway. It's the maturity, it's that mindset, and it's the hormones that is just it took off. It takes off. So before we can even, get that together, we already gone. And that's the problem. We matured fast, very fast. Like at the teenage years, we already thinking like a 30-year-old. Like fast.
Mm. Well, I mean, I just feel like too, a lot of guys aren't being shown how to be men, so that's why we have a lot of single parent households and stuff like that. Because a lot of guys aren't being given the game, and so they trying to get in. They trying to learn how to talk to women and I guess get their sexual fantasies or frustrations out, and so they feel they've been taught. A lot of guys are being taught too to be married and this, that, and the third, and then they get frustrated when they get out here in the real world and they realize that what my mama told me was what she wanted, but it don't really work like that. I can't just tell a girl that I like her and I want to be with her and date her and stuff like that, and it's gonna work. You know what I'm saying? And it's gonna work.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
So it's just like, to me, I feel like we need men back in the home. I feel like, and I want to say somebody got to be discretionary. Guys got to be more discretionary. If ladies, if the guys ain't, if they ain't pulling out a condom the first time you see them, then y'all ladies, I need y'all to step up and be like, no, you're not finna have sex with me if you don't have a condom, because that right there, it because y'all had the final say anyway. So I
But that
feel.
goes with self esteem too, because that's easier said than done. But if she's suffering some self esteem, she thinking that this man really love her. And he don't really love her. He's just trying to get to where he needs to get to. Like I said, you have to set the standard and set the tone. But see, all that stems back from your mother. Your mother is supposed to mold you into that young woman for you to know. And your daddy. Your daddy's supposed to put you on game too. But really your mother, you learning how to become a woman through your mom. So when your mom hasn't gave you the proper tools to navigate and how to conduct yourselves as a young woman should, what do you expect?
Hmm.
Your
um
mother trying to get a man her damn self. Okay.
There you go. So, do you want to open up the floor to people? Because I was kind of checking the comments to make sure we didn't miss nobody. Some people was, I don't know if they've been getting shadow banned or banned off of YouTube or saying stuff, but I just wanted to double check. Anybody in the audience want to get on and kind of comment on these topics, or kind of give your opinion on these too? Because we said that we wanted to get. Well, Deja had put out a post earlier this week about people coming on, so the floor is open. If you want to, we'll put the link in there if you want to get into it. So if anybody at this time want to get on, go ahead and comment right quick. And while we doing and waiting on that, I need everybody to go and check out uh strawberry icing on Instagram. I'm finna put the link up in the chat. Y'all go check out Deja's hair, makeup,
No, it's
and
not hair and makeup. No, it's not.
okay,
It's
no,
a
okay, cool.
skincare and
Skin
cosmetic line. So
skin
yeah.
yeah, skincare and cosmetic line, excuse me. Always get in that mode because it's all because my mom is in the cosmetology field. So let me see here. Let me put this in here in the chat. I want everybody to go follow her up now. We trying to get her to 100 followers. Um, right now.
And if y'all have any, if y'all don't want to jump on here and have, nothing really to say on camera, you can always DM. me or Killzone, and let us know your opinion and let us know what you thought. And are we right, or is there different ways to look at certain things, or anything? I welcome critiques, like we say every week. We welcome critiques. So,
Mm-hmm.
are we
Mm-hmm.
missing something? Is it more deep? Of course, everything is more complex than just the average, but we just, yeah, it's an open and free zone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And while we at that too, shout out to Jadaio Gaming, my sponsor for myself and the Beast Abyss Podcast Network. Y'all check that out. Shout out to L Streets for having us on the website as well as on YouTube. Um, Shout out to her. So if anybody want to jump in, or else we gonna go ahead on and end the episode. Well, unless you got another topic, Deja.
Well, I don't really have that much to say. I think I said everything. I know this is a quick episode. This is because usually run long, but
Yes, we wanted to do a little bit more serious episode and kind of talk about, Black History Month. And now I gotta salute Deja on that. You know, um, we might be back to our regular scheduled shenanigans next week and kind of liven it on up. But we wanted to have a serious, clear cut conversation where we weren't as joking and playing and stuff like we usually do when we talk about these. I mean, they're all really serious topics, but when we trying to create transparency and light, we want to have a adult conversation sometimes so that we could convey these points and
I'm
then the
glad
people
you
have.
just like took over my podcast and yeah, my
No, I
topics.
was I was
But
I'm going off
okay,
what you had told me, and I felt
thanks.
like it was I felt like I'm just applauding you
Uh-huh.
on being a good producer, because I was thinking about bringing the topics and stuff, and you had brought me the whole thing, and I had been thinking about it. I'm like, oh, this is something that we really need to talk about, and so
Mm.
and that's why one of the reasons why I developed this platform, and when you brought me the show, this is what it's all about. This is where we start the change right here, me and you. And that's why I feel like I said before that this show is so successful, is because people don't get to see me and you not kind of, I mean, we be going at it, but we don't be going at it in a hateful, vengeful way like you see on the rest of the internet. And that's why it's such a positive, powerful thing and a powerful tool, and why people inbox us and talk back to us and everything every week. So I appreciate you, Deja, for bringing the show over here to the platform and doing the show with me. And you got any other shout outs?
Just shout out to Strawberry Icing. We will be open grand opening in Florissant, Missouri, August 5th. And shout out to all my followers who I know y'all gonna run these views up because y'all do it every time. So I just want to say all the love and praise goes to you guys, and we see y'all later.
And y'all make sure y'all follow Deja's personal
Yes,
Instagram.
yeah.
Let me put that in here, Deja Vu 26. Y'all go follow her. And let me go put that down in here real quick. And then what else? Ain't nothing else really else going on. We'll see y'all next week,
Yes.
Wednesday, 8 p.m. And we out.
You mean
Peace.
Thursday?
Thursday, 8 p.m. I'm tripping.
Yeah,
Wednesday is
that's
you ain't lying.
Hayes. Okay.
You can tell
Right.
I'm tired, but
Yeah.
all right.
All
Bye,
right.
y'all.
Bye.
Peace.
Bye, you guys.